It was an overcast afternoon in August. For the fourth time that week, I was again on my laptop looking up which book I should be reading on purpose. See, it was almost the time where students needed to enroll in the fall semester. I was beginning to realize that going off to college and getting some random office job was probably not what my mission or life direction was. As a 21-year-old young man, I was desperate to find out what I should be doing that would fulfill me. In this relentless search for what I should be doing with my life, I realized something very profound. And despite being asked for so many years by parents and teachers and role models,
so what do you want to do after college?
I realized something that I now see saved me the confusion and angst and anxiety that you probably feel right now. What I realized was that I was going about it the totally wrong way. Well, in this video, you're going to finally find out in which direction you're meant to take your life. Let's get started. There are lots of paths that you can take. Single or married, white collar or blue collar, house or apartment, kids or no kids, dropshipping or affiliate marketing. You get it. These get extremely overwhelming. I mean, you can't even make a firm decision on what you want to watch on Netflix or what you want to eat for dinner. Again, I get it. Now, the worst part is these decisions cause huge paralysis in your life. And the more questions you get asked and the more you need to think about their answers, the less decisions you actually manage to make. And the issue with that is that if you go on like that for too long, you're fucked. You'll be left at 50, 60 years old still wondering what you want to do with your future. And then with all of that pressure, you get even more paralyzed. Don't be that guy. You need a way to begin to make progress towards your success, regardless of what that ends up being in the end. And with that being said, let me share an analogy with you. Take Tom. Tom stands before a massive mountain covered in trees and shrouded in fog. Tom has read several books on the topic of mountaineering and listens to a mountain climbing podcast every single morning as he sips his traditional cold brew. But despite all his passion and interest to get to that mountain's pinnacle, Tom just isn't sure what is the best path to take in this case. And even though Tom is extremely well researched, his extensive knowledge on mountaineering is actually holding him back and clouding him from making a solid plan of attack towards getting up this mountain. Overwhelmed with options, Tom simply stands idle at the bottom of the mountain, staring up at the pinnacle he dreams of reaching. In other words, he makes no progress in any direction at all, until all of a sudden he realizes that regardless of which path Tom takes up the mountain, he will eventually reach the same pinnacle. Now, some paths might play to his strengths and get him there a little quicker, and other paths he might not be so naturally inclined towards and make his trip take a little longer. Regardless, from regular exposure to mountaineering knowledge, Tom already knows a couple of things about reaching the peak. For starters, he knows he wants to get there injury-free. He wants to get there with his binoculars so that he can see the magnificent views from the top of the mountain. And he wants to get to the top with enough food and water in his canteen and backpack so that he can descend comfortably with those resources. Without these things, he would just be miserable at the top. With this acknowledgement in mind, Tom finally decides to divert his eyes from the peak of the mountain. Instead, Tom decides to walk directly at the mountain with his eyes locked firmly on his boots. Being diligent to continue to put one foot in front of the other, he passes some difficult brush and crosses some difficult terrain. But in time, Tom reaches the summit. Now, as Tom knew ahead of time the things that would make him miserable if he didn't have when he reached the summit, Tom was careful to not get injured, make sure he brought his binoculars, and have enough food and water preserved. Tom would make it to the top of the mountain and get everything that he dreamed of when he got there. No matter what you end up doing when you reach the top of your success mountain, you already know some essential things for enjoying it when you get there. For most of us, these things are physical health, mental health, relationships, and you need to do what Tom did. You need to choose a path to walk up the mountain and just walk it. But before you do, take note of the things that you're going to need, regardless of the path that you take. What I'm saying to you, in other words, is this. Spend less time concerned about your niche or business model or purpose, and just make sure that you're covering the bases of whatever will make them feel fulfilling when you get there. Put in regular time in the gym. Spend time building strong relationships. Meditate every single day. Get your diet on point, because without these things, you're not going to feel very successful no matter what. It is often in pursuing these things and keeping your eyes focused on your boots that you will reach the summit. Allow yourself to relax and focus on the essentials. That is the true path to the top, and everything else will fall into place. Now look, if you were paying attention throughout this video, you'll notice that I spoke a lot about focusing on the right things. But I get it, with all the distractions and options of the modern world, focus business might just not be your strong suit right now. But that's exactly why I made a video just for you, so you can improve your focus in just 5 minutes a day. Do yourself a favor and force yourself to watch that. You'll be happy you did. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Spencer with Must Become. Always remember that your potential is your obligation, and so what you can become, you must become.